Sup lads, it's your boy Bandana-Boi, and what a game today between Switzerland and Qatar. The game ended 1-1, it was a draw in the end. Qatar equalized in the 94th minute from an absolute great header by one of the players. Let me check his name. William Koki. I absolutely butchered that name, but I do not care. What a game this was. The first half was much more exciting than the second half. Switzerland were really going for it in the first half and even a bit in the second half, but initially in the first half, they were generating so many chances. They were missing them, but I thought as the game was going to go on, they were going to create more and more chances and they were going to score more and more goals. Even halfway through the game, I think maybe at the beginning of the second half, they showed us the expected goals for Switzerland and Qatar. Qatar had like an expected goal of like 0.45, while Switzerland had like their expected goals to be around 2.45. So almost two more goals than Qatar. Qatar didn't even have, they weren't even expected to score a singular goal. And I'm not gonna, the first thing I talk about is the refereeing. It surprised me there was a bit of bias. I don't think the penalty that was awarded for Switzerland was actually offside. Of course, I'm not sure, and I hope VR got it correctly just for fair play and everything, but I thought the player, I'm assuming it was Mbolo, I'm not sure, was extremely offside. And then, of course, the keeper crashed into him, and thankfully he didn't get a concussion or anything. But yeah, Switzerland were awarded a penalty. And regarding the penalty, I gotta give credit to Mbolo. He finished it as cool as he'd like. Bottom left, send the keeper the wrong way, and Switzerland at that point were 1-0 up. The Qatari goalkeeper, what an absolute masterclass from him. Without him, I am so sure Qatar would have truly been in very big trouble. They would have conceded 3 goals, if not 4. He truly put a shift in. So part of why Switzerland didn't get more goals than one was because of Qatar's goalkeeper. He was truly the MVP of the match, and I really hope that he got the ball and not the Qatari striker. Of course, it's great that he was able to equalize for them the last minute, but for the game as a whole, their goalkeeper truly was the star man because he saved them time and time again. And up until halftime, I thought the game looked pretty good. You know, Qatar were being more defensive, but even then, when they were on the counter attack, they didn't look too bad. And Switzerland just kept on putting the pressure on. In the second half, if you look at the stats, maybe you'd think that, oh, not much changed, but you could clearly see that the energy on the pitch died down so much from both sides. The Qatari players looked like they were dead, and so did the Swiss players, where it looked like neither team really wanted to generate anything. You know, so many misplaced passes, where there's basically no pressure on you in the midfield, and the midfielder just, absolutely wrecking the pass outside the field just because he isn't putting enough power on the pass. He's putting too much power. So that was definitely surprising. Where the first half was decently entertaining, and the second half kind of died down a bit. But one other thing we need to talk about is, unfortunately, even though I do think Mbolo is a good striker, Switzerland are truly just missing a great number 9. You need that number 9 who has those finishing instincts. I don't think the players from, the Swiss side were stressed or nervous in front of goal, but they simply didn't look like they had the skill to be scoring the goals, which was unfortunate. Where the build-up play was beautiful. Some of the chances created by Switzerland were genuinely amazing, but it's just in that last moment when you want that touch, to send the keeper the wrong way, put it bottom right, bottom left, not make the keeper. They just didn't have that. And it was almost like hard to watch because Switzerland, I think, had over 20 shots during this game, and maybe 10 of them were on target. And for you to only be converting one, that's insane. Of course, again, credit has to be given to the Qatari goalkeeper because he truly did great. I also do feel like Qatar were robbed a bit since, as I said, I don't think that penalty should have been awarded. Of course, thankfully, after like maybe 20-25 minutes, the refereeing became pretty fair. I don't think there was anything wrong, and you know, it became just a normal game that slowly died down as the players were getting, more tired. The game was played in San Francisco, so I don't know if the heat there is insane for them, to be wilting like flowers. But, you know, good on both sides, and Now in this group between Canada, Bosnia, Qatar, and Switzerland, they're all tied at 1-1. And they all have a difference of 1-1. Currently, everyone has 1 point, and everyone has scored one goal. So the rankings truly are going down. As it stands, I don't think it'll stay like this at the end, of course. But it's really just like fair play rules, where the team who got the least yellow cards is basically winning. That's why I talked about it, where it's going to be very important to make sure that your team doesn't get the most amount of yellow cards. With that being said, lads, I'd love to hear what y'all think about the game. Tell me, do you think I had some wrong takes? What did you guys think of the game? And I appreciate y'all. I appreciate your time. I love y'all. And choose